For generations, Star Trek symbolized hope, cooperation, and humanity's highest ideals. Audiences saw a future where differences were overcome and leadership was rooted in courage and reason. At the center of that vision stood Captain James T. Kirk, brought to life by William Shatner with undeniable charisma. Yet, behind the optimism of the Enterprise existed a far more turbulent reality. Long hours, creative clashes, and unspoken rivalries shaped an environment far removed from the harmony portrayed on screen. Now, in the reflective quiet of his later years, Shatner has begun speaking openly about the pressures, conflicts, and personal sacrifices that defined his rise to fame. His story is not one of simple heroism or villainy, but of ambition colliding with insecurity, success shadowed by loss, and resilience forged through hardship. By revisiting the truth behind Star Trek, Shatner reveals the cost of becoming an icon and invites audiences to see beyond the uniform toward the deeply human story beneath it. A childhood framed by drama and early talent, William Shatner's life seemed marked by theatricality from its very first moment. Born during a historic snowstorm in Montreal, his arrival was as dramatic as the roles he would later play. From early childhood, Shatner gravitated toward performance, enrolling in acting school while most children were still discovering play. Radio work and stage performances followed quickly, earning praise for a presence far beyond his years. Despite this early promise, his path was not straightforward. Academic life never fully captured his attention, and while he studied economics at university, his true education happened in rehearsal rooms and student theatres. Writing and performing his own plays gave him a sense of creative control that would later become both his strength and his flaw. Shatner's youth was defined by restless energy, confidence, and an unshakable belief in his potential. These traits pushed him forward, but they also planted the seeds of the intensity that would later strain relationships when ambition met collaboration. The long road to television recognition before Star Trek, Shatner was not an overnight success, but a working actor slowly carving out space in a competitive industry. After moving to New York, early setbacks tested his resolve. A short-lived Broadway run could have ended his momentum, yet instead it hardened his determination. Television became his proving ground. Appearing in acclaimed anthology series, he developed a reputation for emotional intensity and vulnerability under pressure. His performances often centered on characters pushed to psychological extremes, revealing an instinct for tension that would define his later work. These years taught Shatner adaptability and survival. He learned how to seize attention quickly, knowing opportunities were fleeting. While he gained experience and confidence, he also internalized the belief that visibility was everything. This lesson, born of necessity, would later influence how fiercely he guarded his place at the center of Star Trek, sometimes at the expense of harmony. Becoming Captain Kirk and redefining leadership, when William Shatner stepped into the role of Captain Kirk, he did more than replace another actor. He reshaped the character entirely. Rejecting stiff, militaristic portrayals, he envisioned Kirk as curious, charismatic, and emotionally accessible. Drawing inspiration from historical leaders and his own past performances, Shatner infused the role with warmth and spontaneity. Humor became a defining element, making Kirk feel human rather than distant. This approach resonated deeply with audiences during a decade defined by uncertainty and change. Kirk represented confidence without cruelty, authority balanced by empathy. The success of the character was immediate, and Shatner quickly became the face of Star Trek. Yet, with that prominence came pressure. As the show's central figure, Shatner felt responsible not just for his performance, but for the show's survival. This sense of ownership fueled creative investment, but it also fostered control. laying the groundwork for conflict behind the scenes. Rivalries, egos, and a fractured set. Behind the optimism of Star Trek lay a set defined by tension and rivalry. As Leonard Nimoy's Spock grew in popularity, insecurities surfaced. Shatner's fear of losing relevance manifested in behavior that strained relationships, including deliberate disruptions during filming. Creative disagreements escalated into heated confrontations, delaying production and exhausting everyone involved. Writers grew frustrated as scripts were constantly rewritten, often favouring Kirk and Spock at the expense of other characters. While the show broke cultural ground on screen, unity off-screen was fragile. Even historic moments, such as television's first interracial kiss, were shaped by behind-the-scenes anxiety and resistance. Long shooting days intensified emotions, leaving cast and crew physically and mentally drained. Shatner later acknowledged that ambition and fear drove many of his actions. In trying to protect the show and his role within it, he contributed to the very discord that threatened its stability. The personal cost of stardom. As Shatner commanded the Enterprise, his personal life quietly unravelled. The relentless filming schedule left little room for family, transforming absence into routine. Missed birthdays, holidays, and milestones accumulated into emotional distance that could not be repaired with good intentions. His marriage suffered under the weight of neglect, and his children grew accustomed to his absence. Shatner later quantified the cost in numbers: dinners missed, weekends lost, moments gone forever. When his marriage ended, it coincided cruelly with the cancellation of Star Trek. The role he had sacrificed everything for vanished, leaving him alone with regret and uncertainty. Fame had demanded everything, yet offered no safety net. Shatner's reflections on this period are filled with remorse. He recognizes that success came at the expense of presence, and that no achievement could replace lost time with family. Collapse, humiliation, and survival. After Star Trek ended, Shatner faced a harsh reality familiar to many actors: typecasting and rejection. Opportunities dwindled, and financial instability followed. Reduced to taking roles far beneath his earlier stature, he struggled to maintain dignity while simply surviving. At his lowest point, he lived out of a camper, a stark contrast to the starship he once commanded. The humiliation of those years left lasting scars. Yet, even in desperation, Shatner continued working, refusing to disappear. The revival of Star Trek through feature films offered redemption. Returning to Kirk as an older, more vulnerable man allowed Shatner to channel his own experiences into the role. The success of these films restored his career and sense of purpose. Survival had reshaped him, tempering ambition with humility, redemption, regret, and complicated friendships. Later success brought reflection rather than triumph, while new roles proved his versatility. Unresolved relationships lingered. The complicated bond with Leonard Nimoy remained fractured, marked by collaboration and distance. Their estrangement before Nimoy's death became one of Shatner's deepest regrets. Fame had reunited his career, but not always his friendships. Physical injuries and chronic pain became daily reminders of years spent pushing beyond limits. Yet Shatner also found renewed respect through roles that blended humour and vulnerability. These performances revealed growth, an actor no longer desperate to dominate, but willing to share space. Regret softened into understanding. Shatner began acknowledging mistakes publicly, not as excuses, but as truths. This willingness to confront his past marked a new phase of honesty. Legacy of a flawed legend. Now in his 90s, William Shatner speaks with clarity earned through experience. He no longer defends every choice, nor denies the harm caused by ambition unchecked. Instead, he presents himself as a man shaped by fear, drive, and love for his craft. His honesty reframes the Star Trek legacy not as a story of heroes and villains, but of human beings under extraordinary pressure. Shatner's journey reminds audiences that icons are not immune to doubt or failure. The courage he portrayed on screen often eluded him off it, yet his willingness to confront that truth completes the story. Captain Kirk may have symbolized humanity's best future, but William Shatner's real legacy lies in his resilience, self-reflection, and the courage to finally tell the whole truth.